Hey, all right. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Invisible Condition. It's not all in your head. I am your host, Jeff Pearson, and we created this show for you. We created it for you because we want everybody with an invisible condition to know that beyond the shadow of doubt, without condition, that you have a voice, you have a community, and you are not alone. To that end, we are not alone today. I actually have two guests today. It's going to be a fun show. This is going to be awesome. I have two guests. One of them you'll recognize from a previous show, and one of them you may not. She'll be brand new today. She's awesome. I can't wait for you to meet both of them. So, in addition to being the head of the Aziza Project, Stephanie Berman, who you will recognize from a previous episode, is a money coach who equips fellow neurodivergent folks with skills to achieve financial freedom, which is awesome because that is not addressed enough. Financial freedom is pretty awesome, so we want that. She specializes in budgeting basics and leading clients from overwhelm to, oh, I get it. Okay, cool. So having ADHD and autism herself, she understands the neurodivergent tendencies towards overwhelm and impulsive buying. Yes. Stephanie lives in southeastern Washington with her neurodivergent husband. And Grace Fox is also with us today, and she is an award-winning author of 13 books. That's mind-blowing in itself. 13 books, a member of the First 5 Bible Study writing team for Proverbs 31 Ministries. Wow. It's not even a tongue twister. Proverbs 31 Ministries, and a co-host of the Your Daily Bible Verse podcast, which is awesome. Her and her husband co-direct International Messengers Canada, a missionary sending agency with 300 staff in 30 countries. Wow. Today, we are going to hear more about the invisible condition hydrocephalus, which is very familiar to me, so I'm very excited about this show. But from a mom's perspective, and even more interesting, giving birth to a hydro baby in a country halfway around the world. This is going to be cool. You're not going to believe it. All right, here we go. I'm going to bring them on here. Here we go, Stephanie. Hello, Stephanie.
Hi.
And here is Grace. Good morning.
Hi.
Hello, Grace. Thank you so much for joining us, ladies. I'm so glad you're here.
Glad to be here.
Thanks for having us.
Oh, this is so cool. Everybody's got a story, but I didn't realize you had more than one, Stephanie. This is this is going to be good. I mean, we already had you on talking about the Aziza Project and everything going on with that, which was awesome. And now we get to see you again. So this is fun. So Grace, I understand you have quite the birth story from when Stephanie was born. Everybody's got a birth story. Yours is quite extraordinary. Can you tell us how you came to be in Nepal? so where Stephanie was born?
Yeah, sure. My husband was trained as a civil engineer. And so shortly after we married, we went to Nepal where he was going to work with a nonprofit faith-based organization for 3 years. And he was working on a hydroelectric project. So we had our first child was born there in a mission hospital, a couple hours away from the village where we were stationed. And when he was about 18 months old, a little less than that, we were transferred to that hospital project where my husband took over a remodel job. So he was put in charge and we moved. So we were just a stone's throw away from this mission hospital. And that's where Stephanie was born. So that's why we were in Nepal. And yeah, they just couldn't do anything for hydrocephalic babies there.
Well, yeah, well, and at the time that she was born too, I mean, that was a few years ago. So a few years ago, plus being born in Nepal, yeah, that would be a challenge.
Yeah. Yeah.
Tell us that story. What was the birth? What's that birth story? What was that like?
So she ended up being born by cesarean, and we knew immediately that there was a problem, obviously. And so the doctor who delivered her said, you need to go back to North America on the first available flight. And nowadays there are flights a lot in and out of Kathmandu, but back then it might have been 2 a week going back to North America. And so she was born on March the 19th, which was a Tuesday then. And so we had to try to make the airline reservations on the Wednesday. A phone line went up between that area, it's called Tensen. A phone line went up between Tensen and Kathmandu only a couple of weeks before she was born. And so my husband was able to try to call Kathmandu to an airline company to try to reserve some seats. And when they found out that I had had a cesarean, they said, no, she's not boarding our plane because she's a medical high risk and we can't have her. And then found out that there's a newborn. They said, nope, can't have that baby on board either. We don't want any babies less than 2 weeks old.
Oh my gosh.
I remember my husband coming back to the house and telling me that, and I just cried. And I said, well, what are we supposed to do? Because if we don't get her home, she's going to die. And he just said, I'm going to take her. So Thursday we had a Land Rover ride. It was like 12 hours to Kathmandu on these just snake-like roads. And I was laying on the floor on morphine for pain. A British wife traveled with us. My mother-in-law had flown over from Washington and arrived on the Sunday night just prior to that. She just wanted to be there for this grandbaby coming, right?
Sure. Yeah.
A surprise. And so she was there with us in the back of the Land Rover. And we did this 12-hour trip into Kathmandu. So we got there after dark, just after 6. And the guest house hostess where we were supposed to stay came running out. And she said, you need a passport for this baby. And in all the rush, we had just forgotten about that. So she had been holding a photo studio open in Kathmandu. So my husband and the midwife took Stephanie, went back in the Land Rover and to the photo studio where they had Steph's picture taken, and then came back for the night. And in the morning, Gene, my husband, went to the embassy to get that passport made. And an American doctor in Kathmandu took Stephanie to another mission hospital in the city and put a needle down the fontanelle of her head and withdrew 40 cc's of fluid just to get that excess pressure off her brain. But on the day she was born, they did the same thing and they took 60 cc's of fluid off. So, yeah. So I remember nursing her one more time when the doctor brought her back, and then her dad showed up and we wrapped her in a blanket. We prayed together and they were gone to go catch that flight back to Seattle is where he took her. And there was another whole adventure on the way home, but we can get into that in a minute. But that was just, that week of her birth where our lives were just forever changed because of that. And good, in a good way. I just feel like that opportunity, the trial, I would say, became an opportunity for me to grow in ways that I wouldn't have grown otherwise. In my faith, especially, I think it made me who I am. It cemented my faith at that time when I had to say goodbye to my 3-day-old daughter, not knowing if I would see her alive again or not.
Holy cow. Yeah. I mean, if that's not going to, if that doesn't try your faith and cement it, yeah, I mean, that is unbelievable. Holy cow. So just to throw this out there to the audience, anybody watching, that medical care around the world obviously can vary wildly, clearly, from this. I mean, the United States is definitely different than Nepal for healthcare. Anybody else had an experience like this? Has anybody else had an experience where they had an emergency in another country? Because I want to hear about it. I think, and if you ever have any questions about anything like that, this would, I mean, you could ask. I mean, chime in during the show. If you're watching on Facebook or YouTube or somewhere else, you could comment. We'd love to hear from you. Let's see if we can, maybe you've got some questions they can answer. You never know. Who knows? So, okay, Stephanie, you can you share some of the, I mean, you've had quite a successful lifespan in regards to hydrocephalus. You've not had, I mean, you really haven't had hardly any revisions. You've had it's quite extraordinary, actually, that you've had so few revisions. Can you share some of your what's the earliest memories you have related to hydrocephalus?
Earliest memories related to hydrocephalus, I probably in elementary school. I remember I was dealing with stomach aches in the mornings before school, and I remember around the same age having some like a shunt series done. So they were taking images of shunt from top to bottom to see if there were any issues there. And I think that's probably one of my earliest memories that we directly hydrocephalus related. But I mean, like you said, didn't end up in a revision. Turned out to be stress over math class, I think, if I remember correctly.
I can relate. I don't like math either. Stress over math is a thing. It is.
I think my ADHD was coming into play then, and we didn't even like really realize it because I was essentially in like a self-paced math class, and so I was like stressing out about getting all these pages done, and really I was like ahead of the curve or something. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, then, no, that's good. Ahead of the curve's better. But yeah, stress is a thing, man, especially in school. Yeah, I get it.
I was in elementary school. I was like 5th grade, I think.
Ooh,
so yeah. I do remember anytime I had to go to a specialist appointment, I got to go to Dairy Queen after.
Okay, that's the memory. There it is, right there. That's the good job, Mom. All right, doctor's appointment, Dairy Queen. All right, cool. That's a good reward for somebody to like sit through that doctor's appointment. Peanut butter parfait. Here we come. So dealing with a newborn with hydrocephalus that's tricky enough. And now you're in Nepal. That had to have been challenging. How did you that was an emotional time. You weren't sure what was going to happen. How did you navigate that? And what practical aspects of this unexpected, what can you tell us about this? I mean, totally life-altering, unexpected situation. How'd you handle that?
Yeah, so Jean left with her, and I was left behind. Didn't know exactly when I would be able to go home, but we all like to have control, or we like to think that we have control over our circumstances. And I think at that point, boy, that was a lesson for me, a young mom in my 20s, just realizing that I had no control over what was happening to me. And that was pretty rough. But the midwife stayed with me. She had been in Nepal for years already, and she had become almost like a second mom to me. I really, really valued her friendship. And so she stayed, and that was very good to have her with me, and my mother-in-law too. And our son was there. I guess he was 20 months at that time, so not quite 2, but just challenging. So I remember saying goodbye to her, and Jean leaving with her, and then laying on the bed, because I was in pretty rough shape after that cesarean. They kind of stuck me together with almost like a tar-like mixture. Black goopy stuff is how they sealed my incision, just because they had to keep water out. If I took a shower, they couldn't let contaminated water get in that incision or I'd end up with an infection. And so like a sealant on me, and it was not comfortable. So I remember just laying there on the bed and crying, not sobbing, but I was just holding my son because he had had a measles vaccination about 10 days earlier. So now he was feverish and he didn't want anybody else touching him. He just wanted to be with me, but he didn't understand why his little world had suddenly been shaken as well. And so he laid there with his little arms wrapped around my neck. And I remember just crying. So these hot tears are coming down this way. And I remember just saying, God, what is going on here? Because I suffered with some significant culture shock there for 2 years. And my husband and I had come through to the point of settling that culture shock, finally feeling at home. And we'd had an interview with a career organization 1 week before this happened. So we were prepared to spend the rest of our lives there. And then suddenly we were kind of ripped out and heading back to North America. And so I lay there and just went, God, I don't get it, because I'm finally ready to stay the rest of my life here. And now we're going back. And I think when tragedy strikes, or when we as humankind suffers, one of the questions that we like to ask, or often ask, is, why me? But that didn't come to me. The question that came to me was, what do you want me to learn in this? Oof. And I think that made all the difference in the world, because suddenly there was something to be learned. What was it? And my focus went on to that rather than inward on, oh no, look at my life, it's just falling apart. And I knew it was challenging, but I knew that I had to really be careful so that I didn't go into a big black hole. And so that's what I asked. And I remember back in those days, or even when I was a teenager, there was a very popular wall poster. Posters were such a thing then, and I'd have them on my bedroom walls. And one of my favorites was a picture of a kitten, and it was there was a rope coming down from the top with a big knot at the bottom, and this little kitten hanging with its claws just stuck into the knot. And it said something like, "When all else fails, tie the knot and hang on." And I remember feeling like that picture is me. That kitten right there is me, because I don't know what life's going to look like from this point. And I just got my claws dug in right at this point, and I'm hanging on for dear life because I don't know where this is taking us. And that's when my faith really was tested, because I didn't know whether I'd see my daughter alive again or not. And I didn't know what life would look like for her if she survived, what her quality of life would be. I didn't know what the end of the story was going to look like. So it was pretty scary. And it was my faith that kept me, because what else could?
I mean, right. Well, and you said something interesting there that I've heard so many times. I mean, that I've heard something that relates to it. It's somebody told me one time, asking why, you will always be disappointed by the answer. If you're asking why, if you're asking God, why did this happen? Why me? Why this? You're because no answer is going to be good enough to satisfy your human brain on that. So the fact that you didn't ask why, but you asked, a better question. You asked a much better question. I've asked why a lot more than I probably should have. And that was amazing. I love that you went beyond why, and just, that's great. That's so well done. Well done. I'm sure that was, anytime that happens to me and I catch myself trying to figure out why, you got to catch yourself. And so well done. Kudos. That's good.
I remember too, in answer to that question, an old hymn of the faith came into my mind. It was a hymn that I grew up learning when I went to church as a child and as a teenager. And it's called "Great Is Thy Faithfulness."
Yes.
And, the lyrics just go, "Great is thy faithfulness, O God, my Father. There's no shadow of turning with thee. Thou changest not, thy compassions, they fail not. As thou hast been, thou forever wilt be." And I remember laying there and that song just going through my mind until I started to sing it. And I didn't feel like singing, but I knew that I needed to be so careful where my focus was. And so I thought to myself then, that song isn't promising me that Stephanie's going to live. And it's not promising me what her quality of life will be if she survives this. But it's promising me that God will be faithful. So no matter what happens in the end, I don't know, maybe the story's going to end a whole lot different than what I hope. But it doesn't matter how it ends. The fact that remains is that God's going to be faithful to carry our family through this. He will be our strength.
Always faithful. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I love that. That's so cool. I love that song too, by the way. That's a great song.
It's a good
That's
one.
a great song. That's one of my favorites too. So that's fantastic. Oh man. Okay. I hate to do this, but we are at a really good spot for a break. So we're going to do that. We're going to go to a commercial just for a couple minutes, and then we will come back and we're going to hear more of both of these stories. And so stick around. Don't go too far. And we'll see you in a couple minutes.
The Club eFit Home Portable Gym System is a groundbreaking new system that can help everyone at any fitness level. You can be the happy, fit person you always wanted to be, and Club eFit can make that happen by helping you get the body you deserve in the time you can spare. With workouts ranging from cardio, core, to total body toning, it's easy to get started. Start taking care of you today. To make the change, go to clubefit.com now.
Right, welcome back, everybody. I am going to take just a minute, and we're going to talk about one of our partners with this show, and it's right behind me here. It's called The Porch, and it's an amazing space. I've been there recently. It's in Portland, Oregon. They are phenomenal. Brett and Molly are doing such an amazing job there, and they are creating such an amazing space. It's a space where you can show up and be seen. It's that kind of thing. It's, they created it around coffee for community, which I love because everybody needs that community. It is a nonprofit that seeks to provide training and opportunity to that segment of the population that sometimes gets overlooked, that doesn't get a lot of interviews, and so they invite them in and they train them and they help them and help them to preserve their dignity. It's pretty awesome. And so honestly, you can be part of that story wherever you live, anywhere in the country, by going to this website right here or clicking this QR code. It'll bring you to the same website. Check it out. Check out their story. It's phenomenal. And they ship anywhere in the country. So if you like good coffee, by the way, this one right here is my new favorite. This is Kenya right there, and it is so good. I'm kind of a coffee nerd, but this stuff is phenomenal. So if you like coffee and you want to contribute to an amazing mission, this is the place to do it. So scan that QR code and you can check it all out. So, all right, I am going to bring back Stephanie and Grace. And hello, everybody, and we're back. And here we go. Oh my gosh, I'm still kind of like lost my breath almost with that story about the having to travel. I mean, I've traveled on long plane rides before, but good look. Just out of curiosity, did you, forgive me if you already said this, but how long of a plane ride was that for your husband from Kathmandu to wherever he landed in the United States? Was that a one-shot deal, or do you have to transfer and all that? And
he had to land in Hong Kong.
Oh, geez.
He spent the night in a hotel. He had left us with a diaper bag over his shoulder and a bottle of express breast milk. And so she finished off that milk. And so the doctors said that would happen. And they actually said she's going to stop sucking too. So you'll need this. And they gave him a syringe to feed her with that after she just lost her ability to suck. And so that's exactly what happened. So he gets to Hong Kong. The milk is gone. He laid her on a bed and put pillows all around her so she couldn't roll anywhere. Not like she was going to roll, but he was safe. And then he went outside and he just said, God, you got to help me. I need milk for this baby. I need something for her. And he was in an industrial area somewhere, in a commercial area, but he found a 7-Eleven store in the middle of that commercial area. And so he went running in, he found a little carton of cow's milk, held out a few coins in his hand for the lady at the till. She took what she needed and he went racing back, and then fed Stephanie with the syringe from that little carton of cow's milk. So he went from Hong Kong to, I think they landed in Tokyo, and then Tokyo to Seattle, that long haul. Mm-hmm.
Oh my goodness. Wow. Okay. So I've had some plane rides and I've had some adventures on travel days like that, but not like that. That's something.
There was something pretty funny that happened on that last leg between Tokyo and Seattle.
Yeah.
So we'd lived out in the, rural Nepal, and being clean shaven wasn't exactly a thing out there. So he had a scruffy looking beard, and he was a very young looking guy, right? So scruffy looking hair, scruffy looking beard. And he's holding the baby in his arm like this, right? And so he's trying to feed her with a syringe, trying to keep her wrapped in the big blanket, because the doctor said, don't tell anybody how young she is, because if they find out she's only 3 or 4 days old at this point, they can put the plane down for this and get you off the plane. So don't want that to happen. So he's got her wrapped in this big blanket to try to disguise how little she was, and doing this with a syringe. So somebody reported him to a flight attendant as that kid up there shooting up. And that's all they could see was a syringe going towards his elbow. And so a flight attendant came to ask what was happening. And he explained the situation. They were on the last leg, and he figured they're not going to turn the plane around and go back to Tokyo for this. I can tell somebody. And so she called for a doctor on board. And the doctor, there was a doctor, he came and checked Stephanie, and he said, she'll survive to Seattle. She'll be okay. She will live to Seattle. And so then Gene was put at ease, because he had visions of, what if she dies on me? How am I going to, oh man, what could happen to me if I get caught transporting a dead child? And all of those thoughts were going through his mind as this young father in a very scary situation. But so he got reported and everything was cool, and he landed in Seattle, where his dad and mother were waiting for them, and they picked them up and took them down to Tacoma, where there was a bed waiting for her at a NICU ward.
Yeah, I kind of visualize like on TV, right? They rush them in there and it's already all set up, and they just, right? Man, yeah. Called ahead on that one for sure. That's crazy. Oh my gosh. So Stephanie, speaking of Nepal, you went back there when you were older when you went back, but tell us about that experience. When did you go back?
We went back in 2018.
Nice.
So we went back for my 33rd birthday, actually. It'd been like my birthday wish, like all growing up and into early adulthood, that I wanted to go back someday. And I remember looking at my husband on my birthday in 2017 and saying, hey, I want to be at the hospital I was born at on my birthday. And without knowing the rest of the story, everybody's like, what's the big deal about that? But then I'd say, well, I was born in Nepal. And then everybody's like, what? So we decided that we were going to go back. And we started saving for the trip. We called my parents in like August that year, 2017, and said, hey, we're going to Nepal for my birthday next year. And they're like, that's cool. And they got really excited for us. And then we said, oh yeah, by the way, we're taking you with us.
Nice.
It was so much fun. It was the best trip ever. And we were at the hospital on my birthday. And it was just the greatest thing. It was fun watching Mom walk around in Tencent, because her Nepali started coming back. She was talking in their language. I'm like, what did you just say? And she's like, oh, I told them that you were born here 33 years ago. It's your birthday. And like villagers were like inviting us up onto their roofs of their homes. And
it's amazing how fast it comes back, right? You're back and it's like, okay, it's like we never left. Here we are.
Well, it was pretty basic back. If they started talking too fast, it was like you smile and nod. Smile and nod.
Well, that's for sure. I've been in that situation a few times over in Europe. Yeah, I was just I stayed in one house one time. Nobody spoke English in the whole family. I just kind of it was like a never-ending game of charades to figure out to do to get food and get where you needed to go. It was like, oh, it was exhausting. So yeah, it's nice when you speak a little bit of the language. So that's pretty good. Oh man. So Grace, you are, and I had no idea about this when I first met you. I am so impressed. You are an author many times over and have written multiple books. And I'm going to pop this up here. This is only a fraction of what you have written, but like, this is unbelievable. Did the experience of Stephanie's birth, like, was that the reason for any of them, or did it influence any of them?
I think it shaped who I am today. It's that moment of saying goodbye to my baby and not knowing whether I'd see her alive again or not. That was the turning point for my life, because I realized I grew up going to Sunday school and going to midweek kids club at the church and going to youth group and going to Christian summer camps and all the rest of it. Yeah. But, and it's easy to learn about faith and nod and agree and quote Bible verses back for a contest to see who can memorize the most verses and do all that. But I think it's in the crisis situations where that faith becomes your own and becomes very real. And I think that moment and being separated from her for that week, that was where I realized that what I believed about God had better be true. Because if I had a warped understanding of what he's like, I could easily just stay paralyzed by fear in a situation like that. But if I truly believed, like that song came into my head, if I truly believed that he would be faithful to see us through whatever the future held, that would give me hope. And so I think that gave me the basis for everything I write. Moving from Fear to Freedom, one of the titles of those books. Yeah. It's like what I believe about God is probably the most important thing about me, because if I believe that he's out to get me, I'm going to be afraid of him. If I believe that he loves me, then I can learn to rest in his purposes and in his whatever he allows in my life. I can trust that if it's not good by my standards, if it's bad, something really sad, for instance, if I believe that he is sovereign, that he's able to take even the bad and the sad and make it into something beautiful, that gives me the ability to be strong on the inside and to face that unknown future with courage and with confidence and with dignity and with peace. So that was the turning point in my life that helped me understand the importance of what I believe to be true about God.
Well, no wonder you've cranked out so many books then, because when it comes from that kind of a place, it almost like it feels like, it seems like it would just flow so easily, when it comes from that kind of a conviction, and that kind of a like moment,
the experience, right? It went from all the head knowledge I'd accumulated as a child and as a teenager, even attending 3 years of Bible college following high school. I had a lot of head knowledge, but that time in Nepal, in a very foreign culture, living in a little village for the first couple of years where there were no other English speakers around and no electricity, no running water, no indoor plumbing, being kind of thrown into the deep end and not being able to swim very well, so to speak. That, and then this situation with Stephanie and my newborn daughter, that is what made all of that head knowledge suddenly go 14 inches down into my heart and became very practical.
Yeah, that's amazing. I love that. And so, hey, everybody, like, I know there's only 5 books up here, and I think you said one of them is actually on its way out of print, and so there's only a fraction, just a small number of them up here, but I just wanted to give you a visual of what to look for when you scan this QR code so that you can go to her website. You can go to Amazon too, but if you go to her website, which is where this QR code goes, you can find all the things that she can, that Grace, she's got books, and you've got, what else do you have on the website? You've got the books, you've got speaking, you've got, tell us about it.
I've got a blog, so people can sign up on my website for a weekly devotional blog that comes in, and I have a monthly update that goes out. In fact, I was just working on that today with I don't know, I probably have 8,000 subscribers or something on that, where I send out a little inspirational article, I send out a recipe, where I'm going to be speaking. There's always a book giveaway because I'll feature other authors' new releases and do that as giveaway. I do once a month. I do something called a woman-to-woman conversation. It's generally the fourth Tuesday of every month. And those people that subscribe to my things, they get the word about that. They get the link about that, and they're welcome to join. And so I've started having other authors come, where last week I had a gal who is I want to get it right, a neuropsychologist.
Okay.
And she's written a book about living with chronic pain and how to deal with that. And so I had her on, and she shared a lot of great wisdom and insights about how to get through, how do you deal with chronic pain on a day-to-day basis. And for those of us not living in chronic pain, what things can we do or should not do when one of our loved ones is suffering like that? So
that second part's important. What you should do and should not do.
Right. What you should say and what you should not say.
Yeah. It's kind of, save yourself from that foot in mouth syndrome, kind of thing. When you're talking to somebody. Totally. Oh my gosh. That's awesome. Stephanie, you also have accomplished some pretty amazing things. And one of the things that you have going on is, and I don't know, forgive me, I don't remember how new this is. If this is this is your budgeting stuff. What is it, and how long you've been doing it, and what's it about?
So remember that trip I told you we took in 2018?
Yeah.
God basically kind of hit me with a lightning bolt while we were sitting in the village and said, you need to go home and become a financial coach and help people get out of debt. So I've been at it for a little over 5 years now. And last summer, I niched down to focusing on people with neurodivergents, specifically ADHD and or autism. And my clients have paid off just about $600,000 in debt so far.
That you've helped people get rid of?
Yeah.
Holy cow. That's unbelievable. Oh, man. That's a lot.
Yeah.
Jeez. Oh, man. And that's over 5 years.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
I stand in awe of that.
That's amazing.
I'm amazed. Like, she didn't get her math brains from me, that's for sure, because I don't have any. But she's done so well with this.
That is awesome. I feel like you're gonna start giving Dave Ramsey a run for his money, man. That's pretty good. That's amazing. And actually, I have somebody I need to connect you with if I haven't already. But we'll talk after the show about that. But I gotta write this down right now, or I'm gonna forget. So, but yeah, we need, and maybe I already have, but I'm gonna write it down anyway, and we're gonna talk after the show. But that is phenomenal. So really, that's what other people. I mean, if anybody needs help in that arena, here you go. You have no excuse anymore. I guess I shouldn't say everybody's on Facebook. I say that because I'm in my 40s. Everybody's on Facebook. But if you're on Facebook, what other platforms are you on? I see that I grabbed this one from Facebook. Where else are you?
Yeah, so this is my Facebook page. I'm also on Instagram, but my Instagram handle is a little bit more difficult. I haven't rebranded my business yet. My Instagram handle is Your Neurodivergent Money Coach. So I don't know if you can pop that up here on the screen.
I'm time to type it. Your Neurodivergent
Money Coach.
Money Coach. Okay. So that's Instagram. Okay.
So.
All right. There it is. Is that
yep,
right?
That looks right. Yep.
All right.
Good job. That's a tough word to spell. So yeah, been at it about 5 years. I really love helping people figure out what's going on with their finances, figure out a budget that works for them,
Nice.
Get their behavior with money sort of straightened out so they can live their financial dreams.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and with neurodivergent, the neurodivergent population is definitely in need of that, I think. I mean, depending on what the thing is, the neurodivergence, it can, yeah, that is so needed and so big. So that's awesome.
I just got back from the International Conference on ADHD, was in Baltimore last week. And I was there and I did a workshop on ADHD money management. And we had like 60 people in that presentation.
Oh, I did see that. You know what? I saw that. You were with Ryan that day, weren't you?
Yes.
Okay, never mind. That's who I was going to connect you with. So never mind. All right, cool. He is awesome, by the way. He was on the show a while back, and so I was hoping that, I was thinking, if you guys haven't met, you should. But
I'm the one who told him about you.
Oh yeah. See, memory's the second thing to go, Stephanie. I don't know what to tell you. Yeah. You're absolutely right. You're the one that connected us. Yeah, right. All right. Good. Great. Moving on. That's good. Thank you for that clarification. I totally, sometimes you got to connect the dots for me. So that's good.
Actually, that's like Mom's old thing on her website, isn't it, Mom? Connecting the dots.
Connecting the dots. I'm going through a new branding though too. So at this point, my brand has been connecting the dots between faith and real life. But after the new year, when my new website is launched and all my social media platforms all will have the same look, it will be, let me get it right, inspiring hope, courage, and transformation with a dash of adventure.
Nice. I like it. All right. That's good stuff. Oh, man. Okay. Well, that connecting the dots thing worked out all right then. I just kind of said that off the cuff, but there you go. Good transition right in there. So, all right, guys, here's what we're going to do. We're going to take one more break. We're going to show one more commercial, and then we're going to come back, and then we're going to talk about something that is, I know, important to all three of us and so many people out there. We're going to talk about hope. So come back, stick around, don't go too far, and we'll see everybody in just a couple of minutes.
Hi, I'm Jake, co-founder and CEO of One Hope. My friends and I started this company in 2007 out of the back of this truck on a mission to enrich people's lives through wine. Today, we've grown into a state-of-the-art Napa Valley winery that proudly houses a portfolio of award-winning wines which have touched lives through over 40,000 nonprofits at home and around the globe. And it's happening every day. Being rooted in local communities and contributing to initiatives that uplift neighborhoods, celebrate cultures, and promote community. It's what got us here. You see, through every bottle sold, your purchase can make a direct impact on the causes you care about. One Hope's cause of choice has given back over $10 million and counting. We believe that good health is the foundation of a fulfilling life. And so we've contributed to programs like Olay Health, providing over 1,200 Napa farm workers and their families with medical assistance and access to quality care. We empower education because it's a potent catalyst for change. Through partnerships with institutions like Pencils of Promise, we've built 3 schools that provide opportunities for learning and personal growth. Water is a fundamental human right, yet millions lack access to this basic necessity. By channeling our resources towards water projects like Charity Water, we've provided over 80,000 people with clean water as we aim to quench not only physical thirst, but also the thirst for a better life. Because water changes everything. The battle against hunger is a collective one. We collaborate with food banks, shelters, and organizations dedicated to eradicating hunger. And to date, we've served over 3 million meals through Why Hunger. With hearts as rich as the soil and spirits as persistent as the vine, purpose becomes more than a word. It becomes a way of life. Welcome to One Hope. where we sip for change and savor the difference.
Right. Welcome back, everybody. And by the way, if you guys have not tried that, if you've not tried One Hope, their wine, it's phenomenal. The stuff is so good. I've got a few out there, and they are so good. I'm kind of spoiled now. I don't know if I can get any from anywhere else now. So. Yeah, Stephanie. Well, actually, her name is Stephanie too. She has. Now I'm spoiled on anything else, so it's really good. But anyway, yeah. So here we go. This is the time, man. I love this. I love this segment because I always like to hear the answers that people give to this question. I always ask this question of every guest, and so I want each of you to answer it. I know you have before, Stephanie, but here we go. So let's, I guess, yeah, Grace. What for everything that you've been through, all the things, all the crazy, all the this whole journey. Through all of that, how do you find hope on the hard days?
Hope on the hard days. You know what I found is that I have to stay on top of it on all days. I can't just, when a hard day comes, be ready for it. And so I find hope I get up every morning early. I'm an early bird anyways, but I get up early and I enjoy just having my quiet time with God by reading the Bible and writing down the verses that are standing out to me and what they mean to me. And that's the way that I fill my tank for the day. So if I'm running on empty and all of a sudden I hit a hard day, I'm going to have a really hard time with that. But if I keep myself filled up that way, then when I hit a hard day, I feel like at least I've got something in my arsenal to deal with it.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And it's so important to have those, like you said, written down, like write them down and commit them to memory, right? So that when it hits, you don't have to go, searching through real quick and try to find one, if it's, yeah, that's huge. I love it. All right, Stephanie, what about you?
I find that God speaks to me through music a lot. So on the hard days, I go straight to Christian music and just soak in those lyrics and the music, and that really helps me.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. Yeah, that is huge. Yeah, I've been a musician for so long, and I totally, yes, that is where I find a lot of it too, is through music, because the delivery is so powerful sometimes, and the words on a page is one thing, but yeah, you hear it in music and it's like,
I find sometimes just putting the earbuds in and going for a walk on a hard day, just going for a walk and listening to that worship music.
Right? Yeah.
It helps just put the brain in a right space again.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, totally. Yeah. Lines it right back up. I love it. Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, if anybody out there watching is interested in learning more about the books that Grace has and the podcast, or Stephanie's help with finances, or with the Aziza Project, which was on a previous show, which I would fully encourage you to go back and watch, because it was an awesome show and she was amazing. So go back and watch that one. I'm not going to tell you too much because I want you to go back and watch it. But yeah, definitely. How can people reach out? Let's start with you, Grace. How can people reach you most easily if they want to be in contact for anything, for books or for speaking or any kind of thing?
Mm-hmm. Just to go to my website. It's easy. It's my name, gracefox.com. And there's a contact page. So if they want me to come speak at an event, they can fill out the form there, or they can order my books. They can order autographed copies from the store there. Yeah, they can subscribe to the blog and to the monthly update there. It's all there right on the website.
Awesome. Yeah. Make it easy. There's your QR code right there. You don't even have to type anything. Just pop it up there. scan it, it goes right there, and you can find it all right there at the website. So awesome. Stephanie, what about you? Is there, I think you said social media?
My website is it's not quite as easy as Mom's, but my website is bermanbudgeting.com. At least right now, I haven't changed it to your neurodivergent money coach, whatever yet. So just bermanbudgeting.com. There's a spot there where people can schedule a call with me if they want help with their finances. I believe there's a contact form on the website as well, so they can drop me a note that way.
Nice. All right. I should have had that ready too. bermanbudgeting.com.
Mm-hmm.
See if I spelled that right. I'm pretty sure I got it. All right. There we go. All right. We're just going to leave that right there. All right. Awesome. So what advice, Stephanie, what advice would you give somebody who was, having the financial trouble, but they kind of didn't want to ask for it. They're hesitant because nobody wants to talk about money, right? That sense like nobody wants to admit they have a thing there, right? What would you tell them to get them to seek that financial guidance they need?
That I've seen a lot of crazy, and there's really, I hesitate to say there's nothing new under the sun, because I know as soon as I say that, something new is going to pop up. But I've seen a lot of crazies. So don't feel bad if you think you have a great big mess. I mean, the worst mess I've probably seen is about $800,000 in debt. Now, half of that was a house, but half of that was consumer debt. So it happened.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's unbelievable. $400,000 in consumer debt. Wow. That's got to be some kind of record. All right. Whoa.
It has been. That was one of my very first clients, and we haven't broken that one yet. So
unbelievable. Wow. That might take a few minutes to dig out of that one. Okay. And so, and Grace, before we go, we have about a couple minutes left. Can you just share shortly, like, how faith has played a role in your journey through challenging times, and how it kind of continued? I'm sure it continues to shape your world and your worldview.
Oh, it totally does. It's the basis of everything. It's the basis of who I am and the way I think, the way I perceive things, the way I interpret tough stuff when it comes my way. But right. I just go back all the time to the promises of God. When I'm feeling discouraged, I go back and I think, well, God is faithful. That's not to say that he never allows hard things in our lives, because we often grow through the hard things, but he's there with us through all of those hard things. And we can count on him for courage and for rest when we're feeling beat up and weary. He says, come, all you who are weary, come, and I will give you rest. And it's promises like that carry me through.
I love that. That is one of the most amazing promises. Yeah, I love that. Especially people with, that should be like our mantra, for people with invisible conditions. Come, all you who are weary, and I will give you rest. Because we're weary, man. We got some days are better than others, but it's a thing. So I love that. So any last things you guys any last nuggets of wisdom you want to throw out there before we go? We got about 2 minutes to go.
One of the things that comes to my mind right away is to never give up.
Yeah. Never
give up. No matter what you're facing, never give up. And don't feel like you're fighting the journey alone or traveling the road alone, fighting a battle alone. Because there are people around who may not know how to help. They want to help, but they don't know what to say or where to begin. And they need a little direction on that. And so be patient with them. If it seems like they don't care, it's not that they don't care, it's that they don't know what to do, where to start. And so for those who are struggling with invisible conditions and in pain or weary from that, to be able to go to somebody you trust and say, hey, can I be honest with you? I could really use a hand right now. And then be specific about what your needs are. And usually people are more than happy to step up And if they're just given some heads up or given some instruction on that,
or given that open door, right?
Yeah,
that open door
exactly.
to help, Yeah, totally. What about you, Stephanie? Anything else?
Nail on the head. I mean, that was great, Mom. That's perfect.
I love it. Yeah, no, I couldn't have said it any better myself. That was fantastic. So, guys, thank you, ladies, for being here. Thank you so much, Grace and Stephanie. Thank you for being here and for telling such an amazing story. I'm still, my head is still spinning a little bit. So it's an amazing story, and it's such an amazing journey of faith. And just thank you so much for being here.
You're welcome. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks.
Absolutely. All right, everybody. God, that was cool. I love shows like this because the idea is to just feel so much more inspired after the end of the episode than before, and that's it right there. So I love it. Everybody reach out to them. Seriously, go back, rewind the episode, go back to where the QR code was, and go check out what they're doing. It's phenomenal. And by the way, this is the week before Christmas. As you see the little Santa hat on my dog, we had to do that. Merry Christmas, everybody. And we will, we'll see you after Christmas with the next show, but or maybe not. I think there's a couple this week. But anyway, Merry Christmas. Have an amazing Christmas. And we'll see you on the next show.